All right, men, welcome to today's episode of Strong Men, Strong Marriages, God and Attachment. So, I'm learning a lot more about attachment theory and how that works, and doing some of that work myself in therapy right now. And I just want to share what I'm learning because it's been really valuable. It's been making a big difference in my relationship with my wife, with my kids, with myself, with God. So excited to share this with you today. My name is Mike Frazier, MD. I'm a psychiatrist and marriage coach, and I help high-achieving Christian men have more intimate marriages. So some wins from guys in my program, the Strong Men, Strong Marriages program. Guys are having more open conversations with their wives, connecting more, feeling that deep mental and emotional intimacy that we're looking for, that friendliness, that connection, that love, right? One gentleman shared that he's just having great connections with his wife. Wives are showing more interest in their husbands' lives. One of the things that I hear guys complain about is, my wife just doesn't seem to care. I'm last on her list. But guys are seeing that shift where their wife is showing more interest in what's going on with them. This is a big one. Guys are finding the ability to make it about the other person, like their wife, instead of about themselves. So, your wife says, "Oh, I'm having a hard day," and you're like, "Oh boy, like she's mad at me or something's wrong with me. I'm in trouble." So guys, instead, they're learning to shift out of that mindset and shift into, "Hey, like maybe she just has something wrong, and I'm interested, and I want to see how I can support her." And when you do that, guess what? Wives are a lot more comfortable with you. They want to spend time with you more. Guys are having increased physical intimacy in their marriages, which is awesome. For me, really it's been this feeling a lot more steady with God, which is then translated into being a lot more steady with Elizabeth, a lot more steady with my kids. So that's what we're going to talk a lot about today. So a lot of this that we're going to talk about today comes from a book called God Attachment. And that's God Attachment by Dr. Tim Clinton and Dr. Joshua Straub. I'll throw a link in the show notes if you want to pick the book up. But basically they say there's two core questions to be answered during your upbringing and kind of throughout your life. So question one is, am I worthy of love? Okay. So am I, as a person, as a human being, as me, Mike Frazier, am I worthy of love? Second question, are others capable and accessible of loving me when I need them? So are other people capable and accessible of loving me when I need them? So are they available? Or are they running around doing other stuff and not available? And are they capable? So maybe they're around, but they're either emotionally or mentally or whatever, just not really capable of loving you well, right? So if you answer yes to both those questions, and this is a quote from the book, if you can answer yes to both those questions, yes, I'm worthy of love, yes, other people are capable and accessible of loving me when I need them, people feel safe and secure, and they're willing to try new things because they're convinced that failure doesn't bring condemnation or abandonment. Now, when I read that, that sounds foreign to me. So, I am not that, okay? I am, well, that's not the exact right way to put it. I'm working towards a secure attachment. I'm actually much more secure than much more securely attached than I have been in the past. But as far as looking back over my whole life history, can I say I'm willing to try new things because I'm convinced that failure does not bring condemnation or abandonment? No. I think failure probably does bring both those things. So then they say, but if the answer to either question is no, people invest every ounce of energy to fend off attacks, even when they don't exist. So as I've been going through therapy, I noticed I do this a lot. I think that my wife's against me, or my kid's against me, or my wife and my kids are conspiring against me when they're talking about me. I was thinking that a lot. It's actually a miracle and something I'm grateful for that hasn't been on my mind really lately. Past few months, I'd say. So again, people also invest every ounce of energy to win desperately needed approval. Yeah, okay, I can resonate with that. And they also avoid any risks of failure or rejection. Okay, sure. I can see myself as I look through the past kind of choosing paths that seemed more safe, that I wasn't risking failure as much because I was worried about feeling rejected. I think behind that, being rejected, not loved. Okay. So when I thought about these questions for myself, and maybe you can resonate with this, the question of, am I worthy of love? I quickly said yes, but then in my mind, I think God was helping me kind of think through this. I was like, yes, but why? It's because I do and accomplish a lot, okay, in relation to other people, okay? So yeah, I'm worthy of love, but why? Well, look, I went through school, I'm a doctor, I work hard, I take care of my body, like I do all these things. So yeah, I'm worthy of love because I do all that stuff, okay? And then to the second question, are others capable and accessible of loving me when I need them? Not consistently or reliably was kind of my real answer to that. When I was talking with my therapist, I was like, have very people like this. I do have a couple really close friends I feel that way with. But with Elizabeth, I wouldn't say I have. And part of that's because of all kinds of things, but a lot is because I haven't given her the chance. Pretty much when I do give her the chance, she's done a good job of that. But like the truth is, we both came from her harder than me upbringings that like these questions did not get answered yes very well. And so we're both kind of working towards being a secure place for each other and being secure in ourselves, and it's getting a lot better over time. And again, that's the message. Like, I think sometimes when we talk about attachment, people can feel like, well, I'm anxiously attached, so that's just how I am, or I'm avoidant, that's just how I am. No, like, you have answered these questions a certain way and it makes sense based on your upbringing. Maybe the answer is, yeah, I am worthy of love, or no, I'm not, or other people are capable or they're not, or I really need them to be and they never are, right? But as you start building, okay, like maybe I'm worthy of love and maybe others are accessible. So the book You Are Special by Max Lucado, great example of this, right? If we're trying to earn approval all the time, it's kind of coming from this. You're saying, okay, I'm not really worthy of love, but maybe if I do this, I will be, right? Maybe if I achieve a lot, I will be. And I think this is where a lot of high achieving guys come from with this, is they're trying to earn it. And then are the people capable? I think for a lot of high achieving guys, the answer there is no, right? People have not really been accessible, so we focus on self-reliance, being independent, and it's looked up, it's admired in our United States society to be someone that is like the quote-unquote self-made man, and so that gets kind of enforced and rewarded to develop kind of an avoidant style. But it caused a lot of problems in relationship and in your marriage. But what about from God? Okay, how would you answer these questions from God? Okay, so for myself, okay, am I worthy of love from God? Okay, yes, if I keep all the commandments, then I'm worthy of God's love. That's how I grew up believing and kind of really felt that way. Okay, I better stay on the straight and narrow, right? Or else God's not going to love me anymore. Okay, but if I am, then He will. Okay, and then is God's love accessible to me? Okay, same thing. Yeah, sure. If I'm doing what's right, then it's available to me, right? So if I want to be kind of like, God's love is kind of like shining on that straight and narrow path, and as soon as I veer off of it, God doesn't love me anymore. So I better freaking get back on that path if I want to feel loved. Okay, that's how I grew up feeling like God was. I don't want to blame anybody for this. Like, that's just how this is what I interpreted from whatever message was actually given to me. This is how I took it. Okay. So when we come to these different attachment styles, so secure attachment is yes and yes. Yes, I'm worthy of love. Yes, people are available. So what happens to a secure person is they have a positive view of themselves and others, and they're comfortable with closeness and independence. They're kind of like, yeah, I like being close to you, and I'm okay on my own. Right? So it sounds great, right? I mean, I can feel myself like wanting to be there, and I'm feeling closer to that lately. Anxious attachment, negative view of yourself, and unrealistically positive view of others. So I have some guys in the program that are more on this side too, and I've met people like this, right, where they don't see themselves positively. Other people are great. They have an unhealthy fear of abandonment because they believe they're not worthy of love. So the answer to the first question is no, I'm not worthy of love. The answer to the second question, are people available, is like, well, kind of, maybe, if I do it this way. So like maybe I've got a little bit of that too, right? That anxious attachment personally. Avoidant, overly positive view of self. Okay, this is me for sure. Excessively negative view of others. Yeah. They become overly self-reliant because they don't believe others will be them for them. Okay, so the answer to that one, yeah, I'm worthy of love, although kind of, at least for me, as I'm answering this question for myself, yeah, I'm worthy if I accomplish all this stuff, right? I think that's more probably true of the avoidant person. It's not like a genuine, yes, I'm worthy of love. It's yes, I'm worthy of love if, right? All these qualifiers on being worthy of love. And the answer to the second question, definitely no, like other people are not reliable. And then in this book, they talk about a fearful attachment where you have a negative view of self and others. You have difficulty with intimacy and closeness and often avoid relationships altogether. Other books I've read will talk about like ambivalent attachment, which is like, yeah, people are there sometimes, sometimes not. That really resonated with me. This book just talks about avoidant. The other book I read talked about disorganized attachment, where mainly comes from abusive situations where you are counting on these people to take care of you, and now they do not take care of you, they actually hurt you, and now you're in a real mess attachment wise because you don't know who to go to be taken care of. So yeah, so that one, like, it's no and no for sure. No, I'm not worthy of love, and no, people are not reliable to take care of me when I need it. In fact, they're going to hurt me when I need it, and if I don't act a certain way. So yeah, causes some issues. So so what about God? Okay, because here's the thing, right? No matter how good your parents were or how bad they weren't perfect, right? They didn't give you perfectly secure attachment. But what about God, right? What's your relationship with God here? So are you worthy of God's love? Yes or no? Or is it kind of like I've been believing, although I'm going to share with you the shifts that I made this week. And this is kind of like the heart of the matter of what I wanted to share with you guys today. So are you worthy of God's love? Yes or no? Or only if I do certain things, which is more kind of where I've landed. Is he capable and accessible of loving me and you, when we need him? Yes or no? So I think he's capable. Is he accessible? Well, only if I'm keeping the commandments right or doing things right. But Jesus' parable of the prodigal son and like the lost sheep really go against this idea, right? So in the parable of the prodigal son, the guy I resonate with in there is the son that's mad. Okay. So, if you're not familiar, so the prodigal son, so the son comes to his dad's like, hey dad, like give me a bunch of money, give me my living. Like if you died, give me the money I would have had. So dad says, okay, lets him have it. So even right there, like that element is like foreign to me of how I might treat my kids, right? If they're like, well, give me my inheritance now, I'd be like, no, you got to wait till I die. Go earn your own money. Again, like that avoidant, be independent kind of thing. Again, there's a balance in all this, but like I have gone in the past too far to this way of like avoidant. The best way to raise the kids is to be independent. The best way I can do that is to be unavailable to them, really, is kind of how I saw it. What I'm learning and coming to learn is actually that's not true. And when you do that, you create an avoidant person who maybe has good self-esteem, or maybe you create an anxious person that does not have good self-esteem and creates a bunch of issues in their relationship long term. But yeah, so the prodigal son, so he gives his kid a bunch of money. The kid runs out, wastes all of it on, they call riotous living, so like on prostitutes, on stuff that is not in line with what God asks us to do, right? Ends up with the pigs. And then he's like, finally kind of comes to his senses like, oh man, I really screwed up here. I should probably go home and just apologize to my dad. Maybe I don't really even feel worthy to be his son anymore, which I think we can relate with. Like I can relate to that. Okay, like I broke these commandments. I don't really feel worthy to be called like a son of God. And so son comes back home, tries to talk to his dad, but his dad sees him like running from a long way off and just runs and gives him a hug. He's like, oh, like, thank God you're here. Like throws him a big party, celebrates. And just like, yeah, my son who's lost, he's found, he's back, right? Let's celebrate this. So again, like that's how God sees us, right? He's waiting on us. He's available, okay? We just need to come to him. That's what Jesus is trying to teach us. This is actually the heart of God. It's not that if you go off track, he's not available, right? It's that, hey, he's there, he's waiting, and he loves you. Or the lost sheep, he goes and actually searches out the sheep, right? Goes and finds it when it's off that path. That love's still there. It's actually like a searching love trying to find us. Does not abandon us when we're off track, right? So yeah, just a good feeling. And then for me, kind of thinking that way to translate to my kids, like how do I show them that I'm available. And I'll tell you some kind of analogies I came up with that resonate with me around that. But yeah, then the other son's out there in the fields, right? And he's working, basically like trying to earn dad's approval. Look, man, hey, I'm working so hard. You never threw a party for me. That's not fair, right? So he comes in, like basically won't join in the celebration because it seems unfair. Like why? Like I stayed on the path, right? I was doing what was right. But what did that kid miss out on? What that kid missed out on was the actual relationship, of being able to feel his dad's love, of being able to, enjoy that relationship, instead of just like checking the boxes and doing what was quote unquote right. And then he missed out on the party too. Okay. So like I can definitely resonate with that guy. I feel like I've lived my life that way a lot, and wanted my kids to kind of do the same, like act certain ways to win my approval. I don't think that was really conscious, but I think that's what's been going on for a long time. And I want to change that, and I feel like it's shifting, and enjoying the shift, feeling it for myself and for my kids. I want you guys to do that and like change your generational pattern. So what came to me as I was like pondering all this after therapy the other day was, we can want our kids to do good, or God can want us to do good. We can think God wants us to do good so that he can love us. Or I can think I want my kids to do good so that I can love them, and so it's easier for me, right? It is easier for me when my kids are doing what's right. And like we can think God thinks the same way. Okay, like you need to do good so I can love you, right? Versus, hey, like I love you either way. Like you can choose right or wrong. I'm here for you. Like I've got your back. I'm your secure base. Like you can come to me anytime. Okay, even if you're off track. And I want you to do good. Why? Because it's good for you. Like you're gonna have a better life this way. If you're responding, if you're a man of integrity, if you're doing hard work, if you're engaged in serving other people, like your life just is going to be better. So that's why I want you to do it. You might go off track, and that's okay, right? I'm here. I want you to come back, but I love you anyway, even if you're not coming back right now. So that like rephrasing was really helpful for me, right? So wanting the kids to do good so I can love them versus loving the kids and wanting them to do good because it's good for them. Okay. The other way I saw this was like having a good like home base for kids to come home to after battles. So my wife always says, look, I want the kids to feel like they've got a place to come home if something bad happens. And I was just so stuck on creating independent kids that I was basically like, no, like once you're out, you're out. And but this like image came to me as I was pondering this of, okay, like our kids are going to go out to battle in the world, and sometimes they're going to win, sometimes they're going to lose, and we do want the house to be like a safe place for them to come back to and feel loved and recover and feel like we've got their backs so they can then go out and explore. Kind of like we talked about, when a kid can answer yes to both those questions, they feel free to explore because they're not afraid of rejection and they're not afraid of being abandoned or unloved if they mess up. Okay, they're more willing to explore when they feel a secure place or go to the battles, right? And look, they're going to get hurt sometimes, and we want them to be able to come back and be supported and loved. So that was a cool image of like, hey, the kid went to battle. Maybe they won, maybe they lost, but like we're here and we're going to support them until they go out again and do it again, right? Or the other one that resonated with me was, so we watch our kids' soccer games a lot, and they come back off the field afterwards, and we're there supporting them, and they're out there and they're working hard and they're playing hard. When they come back, like we don't care really if they won or lost, So that might be like keeping the commandments, right? You win if you keep the commandments, you kind of lose if you didn't. Doesn't feel as good to lose. It comes with some consequences, right? Feels a little better to win. But like when they come to the sidelines, we don't care. Like we don't care about the win or the loss. We care about that kid, If they won, hey, great, let's go have ice cream. Hey, great job. If they lost, it's all right, man. Like, we're here for you. We don't really care if they win or lose the game that much. So yeah, those are just like some good images that came to me. So what I would invite you to do is kind of think, are there some people who you can kind of count on to feel love for you, and you feel like you're loved no matter what you do, even if you make big mistakes, this person's going to be there for you. Communicate with them, have a good relationship with them. Maybe your wife is that, right? And you haven't tested it yet. That's a big possibility. But start the conversation with God. Like start to feel like, hey, God, like, are you really there? Are you going to be there if I mess up? If I do things wrong, do you still care? And just be able to like feel that. And when you do, you can start being more this way with your own wife, with your own kids. Hey, this is a secure base. I can go back there. He's going to be there. He's going to support me, right? So as a summary, your attachment style is your kind of operating system for relationships. So which one did you resonate as we talked today? Is it anxious, where you kind of are always trying to get the other person's approval, or kind of like chasing them? And like a good kind of test for this would be, okay, like if you text your wife and she doesn't text back, do you get really worried about that and like start texting her a bunch? That would be more anxious. Are you more avoidant, where you kind of like you're all about being a self-made man, and you maybe don't reach out as much to your wife? Also, you can have a mix of these things, just so you know. Are you secure, where you're like, no, like I actually do feel like I'm worthy of love and people around me are available. I feel okay by myself. I feel okay with them. If you're there, awesome. Are you more fearful, where it's like, no, I don't feel good about myself. I don't think people around. I kind of worry about relationships a lot. Or are you ambivalent, where it's like, hey, sometimes people are there, sometimes they're not. And that's kind of confusing, so I'm just going to kind of keep my distance. So again, coming back to those questions, are you worthy of love? Okay, yes or no. Is it conditional or unconditional is the other part. Okay, I'm worthy if I do this. That's not exactly worthy. The book, You Are Special by Max Lucado, kind of the punchline is, he goes to Eli, which is a representation of God, and God just tells him, hey, like, I don't care what other people think. Like, I want you to care what I think, and I think you're special because I made you, and I don't make mistakes. It's like, wow. And then he has these stars and dots, and dot drops off of him. But, he just says, hey, just come talk to me every day and feel my love for you, right? So, I think another good way to think about this is like a baby, okay? Like, do you love your baby less if your baby's like crying when they have a dirty diaper? Okay, it's annoying, but do you love them less? No, like you're going to go help them with that dirty diaper. So as they get older, the mistakes get a little bit different, okay? Maybe they're staying out late, maybe they're not doing their jobs, maybe they are failing classes, maybe they're having sex, maybe they're, I don't know, got arrested for something, right? So can you still approach them in a loving way? Like, hey man, I'm here for you. Let's work this out. I'm with you in this. Still, you want to encourage them to do good, but why? Because good's better for them, not because you're only going to love them if they're good, but because good's better for them. Okay. I think that's like one of the key takeaways for me. Do I love them? Do I want them to be good so I can love them more, or do I want them to be good because I love them and want that to be good for them to have a good life, right? And then the other question, are others capable and accessible of loving you when you need them? Right? And the good news, again, this can be adjusted to secure. You just need to spend time with people that can be secure. And the good news is God is always available, right? So feel loved, right? Feel loved by God, feel loved by other people. Have people be available to give you love when you need it, right? Whoever that might be. And I always remember, like, if you're kind of like, man, I don't even know who I talk to, just God really is available that way if you seek him out. And me and my other coach, Coach Mimi, we really try to be this for the people in our program too. Someone that is there and available and is rooting for you. And if you get off track, yeah, we're going to invite you to get back on track because it's better for you, right? You're going to have a better life living the principles. But we still care about you and love you anyway. So if you want to come do this, if you want to come join us in building strong relationships with God, with ourselves, with our wife, with our kids, changing these generational patterns, come join us in Strong Men, Strong Marriages. We want to have you as part of the program. So the group program just closed for February, but it's going to open again at the end of March. It's only $200 a month. So we're looking for 500 guys that are willing to spend $200 a month this year to break these patterns and create new patterns for generations to follow. So if you're ready, willing, and able to spend $200 a month to do that, come do it. Join us in our group program. We also have an intensive program that's for guys that are making more like $250,000 or more a year and want to go more intensive and in depth and do some daily work to really make these changes in a intensive way. So there's an application to fill out for that too on the website. So if that's you, fill out an application and we'll talk and see if it's a good fit. But yeah, come visit strongman.io, join the email list there. You'll also get a 7-day series on how to be more attracted to your wife. And then if you're wanting to come into the intensive program, talk about that, fill out an application and we will chat. All right, stay strong in God, men. We'll see you next episode.